This happened about 4 years ago, and even now, I still double-check my locks more times than I'm willing to admit. Not because I think it'll stop anything, but because it gives me the illusion that I still have control. At the time, I was living alone in a small ground floor apartment in a quiet suburban complex just outside the city. It was the kind of place people moved to when they wanted their lives to slow down. Mostly retirees, a few young couples, one single guy like me. No parties, no drama, no noise complaints. I liked it because nothing ever happened there. My apartment was one of 6 units in a long, low building that faced a shared parking lot. No gated entrance, no security guard, just trust, routine, and familiarity. The kind of place where people recognize your car but don't know your name. I worked long hours at a logistics company, so my routine was painfully consistent. Wake up at 6:30, shower at 6:40. Out the door by 7:15, home by 6, gym on Tuesdays and Thursdays, groceries on Sunday evenings. I ate the same meals, parked in the same spot, took the same walking path to my door every single day. I never thought about how easy that made me to track. The first strange thing was the shoes. I remember the exact moment because it was such a normal night. I came home, kicked my shoes off at the door like always, and froze when I saw another pair already there. Men's sneakers. Gray, worn but clean, laced, my size. They were placed neatly beside the wall, toes pointing outward like someone had intentionally arranged them. I just stood there staring at them, my brain refusing to catch up. For a solid minute, I didn't move. I didn't breathe normally. I kept expecting the scene to rearrange itself, like my eyes were playing a trick on me. I lived alone, I always had. I slowly scanned the apartment. Nothing else looked off. The couch cushions were the way I left them. My keys were on the hook. My laptop was still on the desk. I checked every room, the bathroom, the bedroom, the tiny storage closet. No one was there, no forced entry, no broken windows. The door was locked. I tried to explain it away. Maybe they belonged to a previous tenant. Maybe the landlord's maintenance guy had come in and taken them off. Maybe I'd just forgotten something obvious, even though I'd lived there for almost a year. I put the shoes in my closet and told myself to stop being dramatic. A week passed. Then one night, after a long day, I walked into my kitchen and noticed a coffee mug sitting in my sink. Not broken, not dirty enough to be old, just used. Same brand as mine, same color, but not one of mine. There was a faint ring of dried coffee at the bottom, like someone had rinsed it but not fully washed it. I stared at it longer than I should have. That night, I barely slept. I started noticing small things after that. Things so minor I felt ridiculous, even acknowledging them. My shower curtain would be pulled halfway closed when I always left it open. The TV volume would be on an odd number. The bathroom light would be on when I was certain I'd turned it off. The lock on my bedroom window was unlatched one morning. That one stuck with me. I sat on the edge of my bed staring at it, trying to reconstruct the night before. Maybe I'd opened it for air. Maybe I'd forgotten to latch it properly. But the latch wasn't loose. It wasn't halfway. It was deliberately unhooked. The worst part was that nothing was ever missing. No valuables, no cash, no electronics. Nothing was broken. Nothing was damaged. Whoever it was didn't want to steal. They wanted to exist. That thought made my skin crawl. I stopped inviting people over. I stopped leaving lights off at night. I started checking my apartment obsessively before bed. Finally, I bought a small motion-activated camera and mounted it in my living room. It wasn't hidden. It wasn't fancy. Just enough to give me peace of mind. For 3 nights, nothing happened. On the 4th night, the camera activated at 3:17 a.m. I watched the footage the next morning before work. The video started with static silence, the dark outline of my living room. Then my front door slowly opened. No struggle and no hesitation. A man stepped inside. He wasn't wearing a mask, he wasn't rushing, he wasn't sneaking. He walked in like he belonged there. The first thing he did was take off his shoes. My shoes. The same ones I'd found by the door weeks earlier. He lined them up neatly against the wall. Then he sat on my couch, turned on the TV. He stayed for almost 2 hours. He ate something from my kitchen. I could see him chewing calmly, wiping his hands on a paper towel. He walked through my apartment, touching things lightly like he was familiar with their placement. At one point, he stopped in front of the mirror in my hallway and practiced smiling. Different expressions, different angles, like he was rehearsing. Before leaving, he walked into my bedroom. He didn't come all the way in. He just stood in the doorway, watching me sleep. I don't know how long he stood there. The camera couldn't see that far, but I know he was there. Because when he left, my bedroom door was slightly more open than I'd left it. The police never found him. They dusted for prints. Nothing useful. They canvassed the complex. No one saw anything. They suggested it might be someone with a master key. But that explanation fell apart quickly. Then came the neighbor. A week later, I was taking out the trash when the woman from the unit across from mine smiled and made casual conversation. Then she said, almost jokingly, "By the way, you really should get more sleep." I asked her what she meant. She laughed. "I see you coming home late a lot, middle of the night." I told her I didn't. She frowned. "Well, someone who looks exactly like you does." I felt cold. She explained that a few nights a week, she'd see me come home around 2 or 3 a.m. Quiet, calm, never carrying anything. I asked her what he wore. She described my clothes. I moved out 2 weeks later. To this day, I still wonder if he was just watching me, or if he was getting ready to replace me. This happened last winter, and I still haven't gone back to living alone since. I work in IT security, which makes what happened even more humiliating to admit. I like to think I'm careful, paranoid even. I spend my professional life warning other people about social engineering, data leaks, and how the weakest point in any system is always the human being. I never thought I'd be the example. At the time, I lived in a small townhouse on the edge of the city. 2 floors, 1 neighbor on each side, quiet street. Mostly professionals and small families. I'd been there for almost 3 years and never had a single issue. I took security seriously. Cameras covering the front and back. Motion sensors, alarm system, deadbolts, 2-factor authentication on everything. Password managers, encrypted backups. My digital life was airtight. My real life wasn't. It started with a phone call. The caller ID showed my bank's name, not just a number, the actual name. That alone lowered my guard more than I'd like to admit. The woman on the other end sounded calm, professional, bored, in that way customer service reps often do after repeating the same script all day. She knew my full name. She verified the last 4 digits of my card without me prompting her. She even referenced a grocery store purchase I'd made 2 days earlier. She told me there was suspicious activity on my account, a gas station charge 2 states away, and asked me to confirm whether it was mine. It wasn't. She said they'd temporarily freeze my account while they investigated. She thanked me for my cooperation. The call ended. Nothing about it felt rushed. Nothing felt wrong. 10 minutes later, my banking app stopped working. It logged me out and refused my password. Then my email did the same. Then my phone lost service completely. No signal, no data, nothing. That was when my stomach dropped. I knew exactly what was happening, but knowing didn't help. Someone had timed it perfectly. They didn't need my passwords. They needed me distracted long enough to lock me out. I grabbed my keys and drove straight to the bank branch. When I walked in, the energy in the room felt off. Too alert, too tense. One of the tellers recognized my name immediately. Apparently someone had already been there. A man, confident, calm, with my ID, my address, my date of birth, a story about losing access to his accounts while traveling. They didn't give him full access, but they gave him enough. Enough to cause damage, enough to plant confusion. The bank froze everything, issued new cards, reset credentials, apologized. I went home feeling violated, but still convinced I'd stopped it in time. That night, the emails started. They came from burner addresses, clean, untraceable. The first one contained screenshots of my own calendar, meetings, reminders, personal notes, doctor appointments, even dumb things I'd written to myself like buy light bulbs and call mom. Things only I should have had access to. Then came the photos. Photos of me at the grocery store. Getting into my car, sitting on my couch, watching TV. They weren't taken from far away. They weren't grainy. They were intimate, close. Like whoever took them was always nearby, always watching. The final email that night had one sentence: "You're very consistent. That makes you easy." I didn't sleep. The next morning I changed everything: passwords, devices, accounts. I wiped my laptop and phone and rebuilt from scratch. I checked my cameras obsessively. Nothing. No alerts. No movement. No signs of entry. By that evening, I almost started to believe it was over. Then I received a text. It came from my own number. It said, "You forgot one thing." That's when I called the police. While I was on the phone with them, standing in my living room, my front door unlocked itself. I didn't touch my phone. I didn't move. I heard the lock click. The officer asked if I'd let someone in. I told him no. That's when I heard footsteps upstairs. Slow, measured, unhurried. Whoever it was wasn't trying to be quiet. They were trying to be familiar. Then I heard my own voice echo down the hallway, not a recording, not distorted. It was my voice, saying my name exactly the way I say it when I talk to myself. The police arrived to an empty house. Nothing was stolen, nothing was broken, but every mirror in the house had been covered. Bathroom, bedroom, hallway, covered carefully with towels, with shirts, with bed sheets, and my calendar had a new entry added for the next day. Move out. I didn't argue. I packed what I could carry and left that night. I stayed with a friend for weeks. Changed numbers, froze my credit, alerted everyone. I monitored everything obsessively. Nothing else happened. No messages, no photos, no calls. But sometimes when my phone buzzes with a reminder I don't remember setting, I still wonder if I actually escaped, or if someone simply decided they didn't need to practice anymore.